Namaste all, and my dear friends, my dear masters, and my dear gods, and at the same time, my Atma Pranams to Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji. Today, we are going to talk about another important, interesting, and useful topic in our daily lives, particularly we being the meditators. Topic name is how to think the transformative thoughts. This is a continuation of our last week's wisdom. As I told last week, on an average, we think around 60,000 thoughts a day, almost 2,500 thoughts an hour. But how many of those thoughts are really being useful to our life? Or how many of them are useful to improve our life? And how many of them are really useful to transform our lives to be better day by day? And they don't make us better day by day. How do we improve those thoughts? How to make those thoughts useful and work on them for us to be a better human beings day by day and attain our goal of self-realization or moksha that we are all aiming get finally. We are going to get answers for these questions by the time we complete this topic today. These are the questions that will be answered in this session. Before I proceed further, let me start with a question at the beginning of this topic. Is thinking difficult? That's my question. Is thinking difficult? Is it difficult to think? I know many of us say the answer is yes, because we don't need to do anything to think. If we sit quiet, thinking keep occurring. So we don't really need to do anything to think. So thinking must be easy. But the real answer is yes and no. The real answer is yes, the thinking is difficult. And no, thinking is not difficult. How can there be two answers for one question? That too, the questions are yes or no answers. How can it be two answers for one question? For that, to explore that answer, we need to know, yes, thinking is difficult. At the same time, thinking is easy. To explain this, what are we talking about? Certain types of thinking are easy. Certain type of thinking is difficult to think. Oh, that means the thinking are two types, the thoughts of two types. Yes, the thoughts are two types. One type of thought is easy and another type of thinking is difficult. Okay. So what are those two types of thought that we are going to talk about today? One is generalized thinking, what we think every day, day to day. That is easy. The second one is special thinking. We are going to talk in detail a bit. That is difficult. What is the generalized thinking? It is called as reactive thinking. I will talk about what about that reactive thinking in a minute. Reactive thinking is easy. What is the other type of thinking? That is called creative thinking. Creative thinking is difficult. If you want to add one more word, diffuse reactive thinking. Diffuse scattered reactive thinking. Very easy. Opposite to that. Focused creative thinking. Very difficult. That is the reason why I told the answer is yes and no. Because diffused or scattered reactive thinking is very easy to think. But focused creative thinking is very difficult to think. What is this diffused reactive thinking? It is nothing but a monkey mindset. The same way as monkey cannot keep quiet, it always going around doing something or the other. Our normal mind also keeps thinking about something or the other as long as it is in a wake-up state, as long as it's not in a deep sleep. It keeps thinking something or the other in the way the monkey acts something or the other all the time. That's what we call that as a generalized, diffuse, reactive thinking is as monkey mindset. We always keep thinking. But this is diffused thinking. We don't concentrate on one particular thing. It is scattered thinking. Why it is called about reactive thinking? Because mostly when we think about the past. Based upon the past, we think. Or based upon the past experiences, thinking about the future, we will be thinking. So this why is called as diffused reactive thinking, monkey mindset. But many of us think, but we never think about our thinking. Many of us don't observe our own thought process. But we who are gathering here are all the meditators. We do the meditation. So during the meditation process, we observe our thinking. That means we are one step ahead of non-meditators. Non-meditators, even though they think 60,000 thoughts a day, they don't think about their thought process. They don't observe their thought process. But being the meditators, when we meditate, We observe our thought process. That's what we are asked to do during our meditation. But what do we think about? If we observe our thought process during meditation, we always think about the past. What happened last night? Whom did I meet yesterday? What are the tasks that I did yesterday? Why did that thing happen to me? Things like we always think about our past. Or we think about future. What is going to happen today afternoon? Who am I going to meet? What work I'm going to do? Like that, we always think about the future. We always think about past. We always think about future, but rarely we think about the present. When you think like this, that makes us an ordinary persons. But this this is exactly what happens in meditation. Now we will talk about focused creative thinking. What is this focused creative thinking is? We focus on particular thing that is our goal of life, and we think in innovatively the way which we have not thought in the past to create something new in our life, which we have not thought in the past. That means in the focused creative thinking, we always think about the present. That is the goal of our meditation. Focused creative thinking is the place where we need to land finally if we continuously practice meditation for a long time. And when we practice this meditation for a long time, when we achieve the goal where we have to achieve, the monkey mindset will be converted into eagle mindset. As the eagle, when it flies very high up in the sky, when there is a storm going there, it goes above the storm, and with a focused mind, it looks down for its prey. And when its focus comes, then it comes down and takes the prey out. That is type of eagle's mindset. In our focused mindset is always compared with the eagle mindset. And in this focused creative mindset, we always think about the present. In our past spiritual textbooks, we also heard about Arjuna, about this focused thinking. When his guru asked the other Pandavas to aim at the bird, to hit it with the arrow, some of them told they are seeing the sky and the tree and the bird. Some say they see the tree and the bird, and some say they see the whole bird. And only Arjuna said that I see only the eye of the bird. So Arjuna is the very good example of the focused thinking. This kind of focused thinking makes us an extraordinary person. Diffused reactive thinking makes us the normal persons, and focused creative thinking makes us extraordinary persons. And focused creative thinking brings us transformative thoughts. It transforms our lives. And all the major company CEOs practice this focused creative thinking. The reason why the CEOs are well paid with extraordinary, very exuberantly high salaries, only because of their focused creative thinking. They don't really do anything as other normal employees of the companies do. All they do is sit and think how to develop that company and then implement those thoughts with the help of the employees below that CEO. Because the CEOs are being paid just to think. In that way, thinking is very, very, very costly affair and a costly act. At the same time, the focused creative thinking is very, very, very difficult to do when diffuse reactive thinking is very easy. So our main goal in the life, if I want to develop an extraordinary person, if I want to develop your transformative life, you have to convert your diffuse reactive thinking process into a focused creative thinking process. That should be the goal of our life is as far as the thinking is concerned. Now, I am going to talk about how can we do this? What are the practices that we have to implement to convert our thinking from diffuse reactive thinking to focused creative thinking? I will explain with various techniques how to do that. The very first technique that I would like to mention is to give up the victim mindset. To give up the victim mindset. What is this victim mindset? That is very important to talk about. This is nothing but victim mindset is nothing but blaming others for your situation, finding fault at others for you being in particular situation. If you want to develop the focused creative thinking, you have to take the responsibility of your current situation and evaluate yourself based upon that. And you have to avoid blaming others for your current situation. That's the reason the first step is to give up that victim mindset. Victim mindset means I am like this. I have become the victim because of the other person. I have become the victim because of the circumstances. That kind of victim mindset you should give up. To get better understanding of this, I would like to give a small example. A person was in a group holding a cup of tea while holding there and he was walking. Somebody bumped into him and he spilled the tea from the cup in the college. The professor came to that person who spilled a teacup and asked what happened. Because I spilled my tea from my cup. Why? Why did it happen? And he expressed his victim mindset. Say, Professor, I was carrying the teacup with a tea in it, and the other person came and bumped into me. That is the reason why I spilled the tea from my teacup. Then the professor told, no, that is not right. You spilled the teacup because you are carrying the tea inside your cup. If you had carried the coffee inside your cup, you would have spilled coffee. If you had carried the water inside your cup, you would have spilled the water. So whatever that is there inside you, that only comes out when somebody did something to you, whatever that is there inside you comes out. But you try to blame others for the thing that is happened to you. So this is the very good example that one should remember. So if you want to develop that focused creative thinking, you have to give up that victim mindset and avoid blaming others for your situation and take the responsibility of your situation and work from there to improve further. That is the number one. The second technique to develop that focused creative thinking is we have to think that we have freedom to choose our thinking and feelings independent of external circumstances. Again, we should think that we have freedom to choose our thinking and feelings independent of external circumstances. Even the situation is the only one, but the same situation can be thought by two people in two different ways. One person can think very positively about the situation, but the situation is the same, but another person can think quite opposite about the situation. But if you want to develop focused creative thinking, you should know how to think positively about every situation that comes to you in your life, even though there is an option to think in other way, in the negative way. I would like to give a very personal example about these two types of thinking. I travel to Detroit to work every Tuesday, and I come back on Wednesday. I go by flight, 5:30 my flight morning, non-stop flight from Dallas to Detroit. And I reach there 9 o'clock, and then I go to work, 1 hour drive, 10 o'clock, and I work, and I come back on Wednesday. I have been doing this for last 3-4 years. And many people ask me, how can you do this every week to travel this far just for work for 2 days? And how, is it not very difficult for you? Many people ask me. At the same time, there is one more person who works in Ford, also travels every week with me in the flight, the same flight to Detroit. We have become nice friends because we travel every week. And I asked him once, how do you think about you flying every week? This is what he told. It really sucks, that he says. What do you mean? What do you think? I don't have no other choice that I have to do. I have a family. He's a very big shot, very big position in the company. But I don't have a choice to do because my children are studying here, my wife likes it here, so I have to do it. Why don't you like it? The whole week, I work only 2 days there, 3 or 2.5 days there. Whenever I am in Dallas, I am thinking about the days that I have to go to Detroit and lose my sleep. Whenever I am in Detroit, I think about my family. When I will go there, back there, and think my family, and thinking about family, I lose sleep when I am in Detroit. I have to do this because I have to make my breadwinning. I don't know how long it do it, but if I give a chance, I don't do it. But I don't think that I can do that. That's the reason why I am doing it. That's what he exactly told me. See, he quite saw it from a negative point of view. He chose to think from the negative way. At the same time, he asked me, how do you feel about thinking? I told him, I feel great about it. What? How can you say traveling every week feel great about it? This is what I told. I wake up on Tuesday, 3 o'clock in the morning. At we call it as auspicious time. We call it in our own language, Brahma Muhurta, at 3 o'clock. And I start at home by 3:30, 3:45. Very nice breeze on the road. Very, 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 very least amount of the traffic. I roll down my car windows. I let the breeze come into my car and open my moon top of my car and look at the sky on the top. And I put the light music and enjoying the, which I never see, the enjoying nice breeze of the dawn. Normally I don't see it, and enjoying the nice breeze, and I reach the airport. And after I get into the flight, after settling in my trip, I put my headphones and I start my meditation. It's a 2.5 hours flight, and I put my headphones. I do of 1 hour of meditation. And after 1 hour of the meditation, then what I do is, and I take a book and I read the book for 1 more hour of the nice reading, which I do every day. The 2 hours pass. And then I get into the airport, Detroit. Then I get into my car, and inside my car, 1 hour drive. And I put my, what you call that Amazon thing, and I put a nice talk, that I mean Apple something, and I put that a nice talk of somebody, and I listen to that talk, Apple Play. I will put the Apple Play, and I listen from the speakers of the car, a nice talk, a spiritual talk for 1 hour. I put it, which I do every day. By 1 hour, I reach my work. And I work in the evening, till the evening. And I go to my hotel. And I do my evening rituals that I always do at my home. And I go to bed at 8:30. And I wake up in the morning at the same thing that I do, my morning rituals. And I work and I come back with the same kind of thing. When I never feel tired, I enjoy. And I come back with a purse full of the money. And see how I saw the entire same situation in a different way. That's the reason to think we have a freedom to choose our thinking and feelings independent of the external circumstances. And that's the way we should develop to look at things in a very positive way. Always some people think that gas is half empty. And we should learn that glass is half full. Not even half full. The glass is fully full. That's what I think. And what I think is, whoever thinks that glass is half empty is a pessimist. And whoever thinks that glass is half full, it is an optimist. But whoever say that glass is always full, that is half water and half air, he is called as a realist. And we should develop that kind of thinking attitude if we want to improve your thinking and make it a focused creative thinking. The third thing that we want to talk about is you have to develop that witness mentality, sakshi bhava. You have to develop that witness mentality when the thought occurs to you. Think that you are the soul, but you are getting the thoughts, but you are not the thoughts. When you are the soul, when you are getting the thoughts, as you get in meditation, and you have the capacity to manage your thoughts. That's what we do in meditation. And when you think that you are the soul, but you are not the thoughts, but you are getting the thoughts, then you can manage your thoughts by observing your thoughts. Now, when you think, we get normally two kinds of thoughts. Positive thoughts and the negative thoughts, as I just explained. But when you get a positive thoughts, Our duty is to keep on multiplying them and keep getting the chain of positive thoughts keep running to make us better and better, better. But the problem is whenever you get a negative thoughts, that's where we need to really work on them to convert them into positive thoughts. That is the main task that we have, how to convert negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And I have 3 techniques to tell you how to convert the negative thoughts into the positive thoughts. First technique is called dilution. If you have a pen and paper, we can make a note of it, because there are some terminologies I'm talking about here. Whenever you get a negative thoughts, the first technique that you convert them into positive thought is, first technique is dilution. What is dilution? Reduce your attention to the negative thoughts. Whenever you are getting negative thoughts, whether in a meditation or in your any part of your life, you reduce your attention to the negative thought. Don't worry about it. Oh, I am getting negative thoughts. What I should do? I should not get this thought. And how should I get rid of that thought? Don't just meditate on it and reduce your attention to that negative thoughts. Ignore that negative thoughts, because thoughts get stronger when we feed them with our support and when we feed them with our emotion. But when we disconnect our support and emotion from the thoughts gets powerless. The thoughts get weaker, and the negative thoughts will become powerless if you ignore them without paying any attention. That is the reason we are always told in meditation, whenever the thought occurs, then don't pay any attention to them. So the thoughts will lose their strength and they become weak and they go away in the same way that they come, because you keep concentrating on your breath. And first thing is to dilute those thoughts. Otherwise, if you give power and the emotion and support, they get concentrated. But you have to do the opposite of it. You have to dilute them by reducing your attention to the negative thoughts, by withdrawing your support and emotion to them. This is the first thing that you need to do. Once your dilution occurs, once that negative thoughts becomes weaker, then you have to apply the second technique. The second technique is called as substitution. Second technique is called again substitution. Again, in English, it is also called as positive reframing, as psychologists or psychiatrists call them. Positive reframing. In Sanskrit, it is called as pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha bhavana. Substitution, positive reframing, and pratipaksha bhavana. Here means whenever you get a negative thought, first thing is withdraw the support and detach the emotion and dilute that negative thought. As soon as dilution occurs and the power of that negative thought becomes less and less, immediately you develop some positive thought opposite to that negative thought. Whenever the negative thought occurs, develop some positive thought. That means whenever you get an anger, immediately you develop opposite to that anger, that is love. But sometimes some people may ask, when we are angry on somebody, how can we immediately develop love towards somebody? You don't have to develop love on the same person whom you are angry with. But first you dilute that anger first and develop love to somebody else. Whoever you are, see the next to you, your kids, or you by loving some animal, or some neighbor and whoever that is there next to you, you develop some love. It does not have to be the same person where we are getting anger, for an example. And psychiatrists call this as a positive reframing. It is called substitution or pratipaksha bhavana. So develop some positive thinking when negative thought arises. Then the negative thought will get diluted and completely disappear. Once the pratipaksha bhavana, positive reframing or substitution takes place, then you apply the third technique that is called as sublimation. That is called as sublimation. Once the positive thought is created, for example, love that I explained, don't end with one thought. Continue the chain of that positive thoughts further and further and further. Normally, thought does not occur in an isolated way. One thought leads to the other. The second thought leads to the third. The third thought leads to the fourth. That's how the thought process occurs as a chain. Whenever the first opposite thought you develop, continuously hold on to it and make that as a chain of positive thoughts further, further, further. Gradually, the negativity of will go out of your sight and you will end up settled with the positive thoughts. Make this as a habit. These are the three important steps that you need to follow whenever you get a negative thoughts, if you want to develop that focused creative thinking. After you practice this, you need to practice one more thing if you want to improve your focused creative thinking process. Here I want to make one statement. Negativity is contagious. That means if you are with negative people, and you will be it is contagious to you, you will also will get contaminated by that negativity. But it is not only the negativity that is contagious, even the positivity also is contagious. Whenever you are with the positive people, and you will be contaminated by that positivity also. So negativity is contagious. At the same time, positivity is also contagious. So being with a good company is very, very important if you want to develop a focused creative thinking. That is nothing but Sajjana Sangatya, as our beloved Guru Brahmarshi Pitra Pitamahi Sapata Brahmarshi Pitamaha said. The next technique is pleasure versus happiness. Pleasure means prayas. Happiness means shreyas. Prayas means what we like. Shreyas means what is really good for us. And pleasure means prayas versus happiness, shreyas. Because if you want to develop focused creative thinking, you have to know how to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term happiness. Again, sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term happiness. A very good example of this is if you are a diabetic, you feel like eating sugar, but not eating sugar is sacrifice short-term pleasure. For what? For the long-term happiness, because long-term healthy living is the long-term happiness. But you need to sacrifice the short-term pleasure of eating sugar to get a long-term happiness of healthy life. And you have to you have to know how to sacrifice the short-term pleasures for the long-term happiness. If you indulge in lower pleasures, for example, here eating sugar, That means the mind is controlling you. But if you can resist the lower pressures, if you can resist the eating the sugar, that means you are controlling the mind. And you should be doing these practices and working and playing with your pleasures and happiness, your prayers and shreyas. You have to improve your thought process between these two if you want to develop focused, creative thinking. Now, you're doing good. I have a lot of information, but I'm trying to cut short and putting the main bullet points to work up with the time. Now, thoughts are like habits. Thoughts are like habits. And thoughts are like muscle. If you continuously practice on certain thoughts, the thoughts will get stronger and stronger and stronger when you come across those thoughts. So thoughts are like habits. So that is because of that, I am explaining certain properties about the habits which can be applied for our thoughts also. Again, here three terminologies. Please make a note of them. First stage of the habit, any habit when we do, we will pass through the three stages. The first stage is called as conscious incompetence. Conscious incompetence. That is the first stage of habit forming. That means we work to get a new habit, get habituated consciously to make a new habit. But still, we cannot get that habit right, that is incompetent. That means even if you work very consciously to make a new habit, you are unable to make that habit so competent and you become incompetent still, even if you are working very consciously. That's why the first stage is called as conscious incompetence. The example is, whenever we learn a bicycle when we were children, our parents make us sit on the bicycle and make us hold the handles and look at the front and then pedal with our feet the cycle and holding at the back and gradually leave at the back and asking us to see straight and keep pedaling it. But we follow the instructions of our parents very, 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 very consciously, and we keep doing the same way as our parents do. But still, we cannot ride the bicycle in the first beginning, so we will become incompetent as a bicycle driver, and we fall frequently. This is called stage of conscious incompetence. In the same way, in the thinking process also, if you take the example of the same diabetics and the sugar, I have a diabetes and I should not eat the sugar. I love the sugar so much. But even though I consciously think, oh my God, I should not eat the sugar. If my sugar goes, my blood sugar will go to 500, 600, 600. So I should not think. He will think. But he will come among the people with the beautiful sweets in the all around when he go to a buffet. But even if the consciously is thinking, he is incompetent to avoid those sweets, he will go and grab the sweet and eat it. So he could not make that habit. It is the conscious incompetent stage of the thought process or habit form. Now, if we keep doing again and again and failing multiple times, then we will come to the next stage that is called as conscious competence. Conscious competence. Conscious. We consciously work on the top. When we consciously work on the habit, then we become competent, then we learn, and we are successful as long as you are conscious. The stage is called as conscious competence. Again, when you come to the example of the bicycle, after practicing so many times, after falling so many times, you keep driving. Now you will come to a stage, then you will hold the handle very carefully and you pedal it. And when you focus it, when you consciously, without having moving, without seeing sideways, without talking to anybody, without observing the traffic or anything, side who is coming, who is going, if you consciously drive the cycle, then you are competent and you will be able to drive the bicycle. Even in the thought process also here. And again, even if you want to avoid eating sweet because of the diabetes, and now consciously thinking, oh, I failed enough times. Now I cannot eat sweet. Consciously, I am thinking, no, under any circumstances, I am not going to eat sweet. So consciously, I work it out, and many times I failed. This time I won't fail. So consciously, I am holding it. Under any circumstances, I don't eat the sugar, sweet, even though they are there in front of me. No, I hold it. I hold it. He tells himself consciously, then I should not eat, and he is successful. In the same way, the bicycle, when he is consciously driving, this time he was successful. Then he comes into the conscious competent stage. When we use our conscious mind, then only we are able to think the way that we want to think as long as you are conscious. And if you keep practicing this thought process, or if you keep practicing these habits, then you will come to the third stage. That is called as unconscious competence. That is called as unconscious competence. You are not very conscious and you are everywhere thinking, still you are competent. Then again, coming to the bicycle example. Once he learned the bicycle, even he can hold the thing and he can look anywhere talking to his friend next to him, and he is looking at the traffic, and sometimes even he can release your hands from the handle and he does not care. He does not think much about driving as he was thinking before. Before, without even movement, even 1 minute, he moves his vision, then he would have fallen. Now he is unconscious. He is not conscious about his driving at all. It automatically, even without holding his hand, the handle with the hands, he can drive. That is called as unconscious competence. When it comes to, again, the diabetic and sugar example, now he has practiced his thought process in so long. Now, even if there is sugar there, he does not touch the sugar. Even somebody comes and give him and force him to take the sugar, he does not take, because he does not need much of effort to avoid the sugar. Now he has come to the stage of unconscious competence stage. So in the thought process also, we need to keep trying, because thought is also like muscle. The more practice your thought process, more stronger you become and more successful you become. That you need to practice your thinking like this if you want to become focused, creative thinker. Now we are coming to the end. Now at the end, I would like to talk about 4 types of spiritual thinking. We are spiritual people. So I would like to end this talk with 4 types of spiritual thinking. And why I advise you to apply this whenever it is possible, that these things come across your life. And we are all called, each of us is called oneself. The 4 types of selves that we have. The one self is called as the known self. What is the known self? Means whenever I talk about the self, I talk about 2 people. About myself and about others who are related to me, and about the community, about the world, who knows me. I am talking at all these four in relation to two, myself and the others. The known self is what you and others know about yourself. You know what type of person you are, and others also know about you what type of person you are. Suppose I know that I am a good teacher, and others also know that I am a good teacher. So there is no conflict. I know what I am, and others also know what I think that I am. So that is called as known self. Hear it very carefully because this is a little bit confusing. Known self, that you know about yourself, and others also know the same thing about yourself, what you know. So I am a good teacher, and others also know that I am a good teacher. So both of us know the same way about me and others. This is called as known self. The second thing is called as hidden self. Second thing is called as hidden self. I am hiding something. What you know about, you know what you know about yourself, and others do not. That means you know something, you know about yourself, but others do not know something about you. That is, I know about myself because I am a very peaceful person, and sometimes I get anger. Sometimes I become angry person. But others know about me. I am only a peaceful person. They never see me, know me about my anger. So others know me as only a peaceful person, but others don't know me about anger personality. That means what you know about yourself, but others don't know about yourself about that particular personality. The same way peaceful. I am the peaceful person, but others also know that I am the peaceful person. But I am also getting angry at times, but others never tasted about my anger. That means what you know about yourself, but others don't know. This is called as hidden self. The third one is called as blind self. Blind self is very, very tricky. You don't know about yourself, but others know about you. You don't know about yourself, but others know about you. To understand, I will put a very practical example. I asked one of you, I can tell Sujana Garu, who is here, and I asked her a question here because she has been practicing also a weekly talks like me. And I told her a couple of weeks ago, give me some constructive feedback about my talks whenever after my talk the next day, and give me some constructive feedback so I can improve my talks. And the next day I called her and we discussed about it. And she told me something about which I did not observe when I talk. Even today also I did not observe. And she told me, sir, everything is good, but only one thing would be better. If you want me to say something, I would like to say something. Only thing is, you look more serious when you talk. If you put a little bit smile on your face when you talk, it would be better. Like that, she gave me a constructive criticism. But whenever I talk, I don't know that I am serious. That is a blind self side of me. I don't know about myself. I don't know that I am being serious, but others know about me that I am serious, even though I don't know that I am serious when I talk. This is a very good example. This type of self is called as blind self. And the last one is called as unknown self. This is called as you don't know about yourself, and others also don't know about you. You don't know about yourself, and others also don't know about yourself. A good example of it is, suppose I have a hidden quality, suppose if I am a good cricket player, for example, but I don't know because I never played cricket. I never get a chance to play cricket. But some suddenly I played one day some game or anything. I played very well, and so far I don't know that I am a good cricket player till I played that. And others also, because my parents also never encouraged me, they also never know that there was a good cricketer inside me. That means I don't know about myself, and others also don't know about myself. The children, the child does not know his capability, about he is good at something. His parents also don't know that particular capability about their children. So both ignored their capability. And somebody later in the old age, somebody found out about that capability of that particular kid. Oh, if we had practiced it from the very beginning, you would have become a star. That is called as unknown self. You don't know about yourself, and others also don't know about you. So if you apply this four principles whenever you can and work on that, and then you apply this spiritual thinking also in appropriate places where you can, and that can also help you to increase your focus and creative thinking. And these are the different things that I came across, and I explained them in a very nutshell, not in very detail, and so that because of the time thing, and if you can apply these things, and you can definitely develop a focused creative thinker, so that you can transform your future and without no doubt. Thank you very much.